Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for joining us. Curlers in the city are taking a hit to their sport and feeling pushed aside. CBC's Dawson Chen has our top story.
Where can Windsor curlers call home? Not the Capri Pizzeria Recreation Complex, according to a proposal by the city's facilities department. A city report is recommending that the ice surfaces of the complex be converted for hockey use only. That's to accommodate the Riverside Minor Hockey Association, who need to find a new rink due to ongoing repairs at the WFCU Center. Megan Bryan, 28, is among the curlers feeling disappointed about potentially being swept away.
I just started curling. I am already really looking forward to the next season. It was kind of disheartening to hear that the city might take away our curling rink. There's very limited places in Windsor-Essex County that we can do curling at.
The AM800 community rink has been closed since April 28, when solar panels caught fire on the roof of the WFCU Center. According to the city, the damage has made the rink unsafe. The facilities department expects it will take a year before the rink is usable again. For city administration, it's a question of math. Curlers use the playing surface at the Capri Complex 32 hours per week, compared to the Riverside Minor Hockey Association normally using the rinks at the WFCU Center 78.5 hours per week. Curling at the Capri Complex generates less than half the revenue of skating at the AM800 community rink. Michael Chandler, the city's Commissioner of Community Services, is well aware of that.
You know, we have more rentals on that AM800 pad at WFCU, and when you compare the overall revenues, yeah, there's a fairly decent disparity between the two. That was a factor that played into the recommendation.
Anne-Marie Schofield, president of the Riverside Minor Hockey Association, believes that temporarily devoting the Capri Complex to hockey players is common sense.
Thousands of youth ice users, primarily youth ice users, will be impacted by this. And I know there's a motion that will run high on this in some cases about curling, but it's not long term, it's one season.
But it's been a rough couple of years for Windsor curlers. This past curling season, from October to April, was their first at the Capri Complex. They were moved there after they lost their longtime home at the Roseland Club in 2024 due to the city's development priorities. Megan Bryan feels more people should give curling a chance.
This sport is for everybody. You can start at any age with no experience, jump right into it. And this is a sport that has longevity.
The report about devoting the Capri Complex to ice hockey goes before Windsor City Council on June 9th. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Hundreds of Indigenous people rallied outside Queen's Park this afternoon, calling on the government to withdraw its controversial Bill 5. It's legislation that aims to speed up mining as well as other projects like the proposed Dresden landfill. Queen's Park reporter Lorenda Redekop has that story.
Bill 5! Bill 5!
Hundreds of people came from across the province with a message for the government.
They're trying to demolish our rights, our say, and that's not right. They need to kill this bill.
It's not good for our animals or the culture or the waterfronts, and all of that is our way of life. So that's why we're here to stop Bill 5.
They're upset that the bill is set to speed up priority projects such as mining, setting up special economic zones to do it, where the government could override some provincial and municipal laws. Before the rally, Indigenous leaders were back at the legislature.
We're not against development, but it's not going to come at the expense of our treaty-protected inherent rights.
And if you're going to be out there stealing without our permission, we will stop you.
And they had a warning of where this dispute could be headed.
We are staring down the barrel of Idle No More.
It's a movement that included road blockades.
I say no to Bill 5. Last week, the government said that they respect First Nations.
NDP MPP Saul Mamakwa sent a message in another way.
The Premier is telling untruths to First Nations about...
We'll ask the member to withdraw.
But over and over, he refused and was kicked out. Members not allowed to insinuate someone is lying.
Minister of
The province has made some amendments to this bill, promising to add not just special economic zones, but also Indigenous special economic zones.
We've assured them that they will in no way affect their treaty rights.
The minister responsible defends the plan to first pass the bill, then consult with First Nations.
I continue to have meaningful conversations with First Nations leaders and First Nations business leaders to see how, once consultation begins, we can advance effectively.
Back outside at the rally, the former national chief spoke, suggesting the current national chief, standing beside him, call a meeting of Indigenous leaders, then follow the lead of the Alberta Premier.
Bring forward a list of demands that we will place before the governments, provincial and federal government, in the same way that Premier Daniel Smith has done so very effectively. And she forced the Prime Minister to meet her on her terms.
This government.
The government is reducing the time to debate this bill and some others. It's expected to pass later this week. Lorenda Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, a small but passionate group of Windsorites gathered outside City Hall to also lend their voices to the chorus pushing back against the bill. Jacob Barker has more.
The protest that's happening here at Windsor City Hall hopes to rally council and perhaps even the mayor into opposing Bill 5, otherwise known as the Unleashing Our Economy Act.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, Bill 5 has got to go.
The protest is being organized by 16-year-old high school student Benjamin Selmy, who says the bill gives him concerns for his future and the future of his family.
Well, I'm very scared for my future and the future of my peers and my family, because I know that they may grow up in a province where the rights of workers, where the environment is degraded, where the rights of workers aren't respected, and it's going to put the futures of everyone in this province really at risk. So that's why I myself am very concerned.
If passed, the bill would create special economic zones. Those would exempt companies within those zones from complying with provincial laws, regulations, or municipal bylaws that the government chooses. Selmy says that the special zones would give companies the ability to violate the rights of workers, First Nations, and put endangered species at risk. He says he hopes that people at City Hall sign on because it would also allow municipal bylaws to be overridden. The protest here coincides with the First Nations protest at Queen's Park today. Selmy says he stands in solidarity with them.
I realize that this bill has extremely horrible effects on Indigenous communities. They've said they're going to blockade highways. They said they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that this bill does not pass. And it also affects everyone in this province, not just Indigenous people, because it has the power to override labor rights legislation in special economic zones, and it's extremely anti-democratic.
The government has defended the bill, saying it was brought forward in good faith after hearing concerns about delays in mining projects, and that the government is committed to responsible resource development and policy while upholding its duty to consult with First Nations under Treaty 9. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
Best Western Plus employees walked off the job over the weekend. They're striking after negotiations between their union, Unifor Local 195, and the downtown Windsor Hotel broke down. CBC's Mike Evans went to the picket line to learn more from the union.
We went on strike at 12:01 Saturday night.
And how many members are we talking about out on strike?
We have around 40 members. Housekeeping, front desk, and our engineering department, maintenance, that type thing. The morale is good. They started bringing in scab labor, so it's kind of getting a little bit antsy. Like, they're doing our jobs, they're cleaning our rooms, they're getting a little bit upset about that.
The hotel is still open.
The hotel is still open, and yeah, they did bring in scab labor, and that's quite upsetting. I didn't expect that. I really didn't. The issues are, well, they have concessions on the table, so we can't have that. We have to get those concessions off the table. We also are fighting for better wages. Our housekeepers make $18 an hour, and it's just, they're barely able to make their bills. You've got people here who've been here anywhere 20, 30, 35 years who are making $18 an hour. Even front desk, I make 19. I've been here for 37.
What message do you have for management right now?
So let's get back to the table. Let's negotiate and pull out a little bit of money to get these people back to work. That's all we want to do. We just want a fair contract and take those concessions off the table. I truly don't know why they're not willing to give us a living wage, a decent living wage. Minimum wage is almost, I mean, in October it's going to be $17.60. And we need to get up there. We need to get up.
Have you been seeing a lot of support from?
A lot of support from the public. The honking has been amazing. People are stopping in and seeing us. So yes, we feel the support.
FHC Hotels and Resorts, Inc. owns the Best Western Plus in Windsor. In an email statement, the company said that it is disappointed by the strike action as it's tried to reach a fair and reasonable agreement through bargaining. It went on to say that over the past 3 years, it's increased wages despite facing soaring costs in property taxes, utilities, insurance, and rising interest rates. The company also says that one of its replacement workers was assaulted. Windsor police confirmed that they are investigating. Now we have Colette Kennedy joining us for our first look at weather. Colette, beautiful day today, sunny skies, warm temperatures.
I know. I mean, that's what we get to enjoy. You know, it's been so cold and such a, well, cold, you know, a coolish spring in many ways. So nice to get some of that warm and give the folks in Western Canada and the prairies a bit of a break from some of this. So their temperatures have cooled down, but we're still looking at smoke in the atmosphere. This doesn't necessarily mean at the surface, but we do have some in our skies that gives kind of the hazy appearance at sunrise and sunset. Otherwise, a really strong ridge of high pressure means, Katerina, even warmer tomorrow and a little more humid too.
All right, thanks so much, Colette. Up next, a BC man is going public with his story of credit card fraud and the shocking realization that he wasn't protected. Someone charged thousands of dollars to his Visa without his approval, but then after reporting the problem, his bank said he was liable. Erica Johnson has the story.
Jordan Judge wasn't expecting two charges totaling nearly $20,000 on his Scotiabank Visa card last fall.
Well, it was definitely astonishment.
An almost $18,000 charge to a British university he'd never heard of, more than $1,800 to someone he didn't know.
I wasn't worried at the time because I knew it wasn't my charge and I couldn't be held accountable for it.
Or so he thought. He disputed the charges, but Scotia pinned the blame on him, saying evidence suggests he must have disclosed one-time passwords sent to his phone. Judge did receive one password needed to approve that $18,000 charge, but it said do not share with anyone, so he insists he didn't. This lawyer and consumer advocate says the bank can't just say Judge is liable.
One would like to see more in terms of actual evidence demonstrating that the customer was negligent rather than an assertion.
Credit card customers are supposed to be protected under the Bank Act, which sets the maximum liability for unauthorized charges at $50, unless a customer is grossly negligent with their personal information. A cybersecurity expert read the letter Scotiabank sent to Judge and says they don't provide proof their customer did anything wrong.
The bank has provided no evidence of any logs or any sequence of events that has been time-stamped or reviewed in any way.
And while Scotiabank insists that texting a password has a proven track record in mitigating fraudulent activities, POPA disagrees.
It's vulnerable to a number of different types of compromises.
The university behind the $18,000 charge says the bank never contacted them, but after GoPublic reached out, it reversed the charge. And after repeated inquiries from GoPublic, Scotiabank quietly reimbursed the other charge and all the interest. While things end well for Judge, the cybersecurity expert says in the face of rising fraud, financial institutions need to do a better job of investigating and providing clear evidence before claiming the customer is to blame. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
We're going to take a quick break, but first we've got a good food fight with some really bad tomatoes. Check it out. This is the Grand Tomatina Colombia Festival, taking place in a town north of the country's capital. Now, the main ammo, about 45 tons of tomatoes that are overripe or not suitable for consumption. A bloody-looking fight that leaves the ground beneath red with juice. It's a tribute to the residents of a town that mostly produce and live off tomatoes. The 3-day annual festival attracts some 20,000 visitors. A live look outside. They're a gorgeous Monday with really warm temperatures in the days ahead. Colette will talk us through that later in the program as she also keeps watch of the smoke coming through. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Prime Minister Mark Carney's first meeting with the provincial premiers since the federal election, and it couldn't be more important. On the agenda, shoring up the Canadian economy in the face of U.S. tariffs. Marina von Stackelberg has details on the proposals and the vibe.
Love is in the air.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford crooning alongside Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. The relationship between the provinces and the federal government hasn't always been loving, but they're trying to make it work, especially as Canada aims to build a stronger and more independent economy as it faces down U.S. threats.
The leadership around this table of developing truly nation-building projects. And this is just the start. This is just the start.
Prime Minister Mark Carney asked each premier to come with their pitches to fast-track infrastructure and energy projects. Smith wants pipelines to move Alberta's oil to the coast and to new markets.
This is not just an ideological argument. It's not just a minor disagreement. Oil is by far the most valuable export for Canada.
But a pipeline would likely need buy-in from provinces along the route, like BC and Quebec.
First, I've been invited here by Mr. Carney, not by Daniel or whoever.
Quebec has historically opposed those projects, but Premier François Legault says they'd look at the proposals.
We need to see what's the economic impact for Quebec, what is the impact on the environment.
The premiers have other projects they want Ottawa to approve or fund. Quebec and Newfoundland and Labrador have plans to transport their hydroelectricity to markets in Atlantic Canada and beyond. And Premier Doug Ford wants money for nuclear reactors and to mine critical minerals in Northern Ontario.
We're going to be an energy superpower around the world. Those are our strengths, and we're going to make sure that we deliver that message, and I know the Prime Minister feels the same way.
Carney has already promised to remove any federal barriers to internal trade by Canada Day. Those restrictions have often made it easier to trade with the U.S. than between provinces, costing the Canadian economy as much as $200 billion a year. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
As wildfires rage across Western Canada, thousands of people are on the move. But finding space is proving challenging, with some evacuees having to travel as far as Niagara Falls for a bed. Cameron McIntosh has more.
Airlifted to safety, the military has now flown about 3,200 people away from northern Manitoba's wildfires, including hundreds from Puckatawagan, Matthias Colomb Cree Nation.
So far, I've only had maybe 3 hours, 4 hours of rest since we left Puck.
Mary Sylvia Caribou leaving on just a few hours' notice, now living in a temporary shelter at a soccer complex in Winnipeg.
As long as we have our food and water, everything is fine. Yeah.
Similar scenes in Peguis First Nation, the hockey rink, now a shelter.
Can I talk to Caitlin?
Beverly Scatch happy to be here with her young grandson, now trying to reach her daughter, a firefighter who stayed behind.
I'm so proud of her. She's doing this for her kids too and people back home.
In Manitoba, about 17,000 people are out of their homes, another 8,000 in Saskatchewan and about 5,000 in Alberta. Figuring out where to put everyone, now a big challenge. Manitoba is sending some evacuees out of province. These evacuees being put up in Niagara Falls.
Just lucky to be here, to have a spot, to have a bed.
Not everyone is happy. These evacuees protesting outside the First Minister's meeting, calling Manitoba's fire response unorganized, as some Manitoba chiefs call on the province to use emergency powers to clear more hotel space.
They don't take Red Cross evacuees, and it's unfortunate. And our people have experienced that, and they don't need that. Our people do not need that. They need to be afforded the basic human dignity.
Manitoba's premier says more room will be found.
Let's face the facts. Nobody wants to sleep on a cot for more than a day or two, even in an emergency situation.
As the fires spread, it's likely there will be even more evacuations. Back in Peguis, Beverly Scatch sees tough days ahead.
I have to be strong though for my grandson.
The fire's still out of control. It could be weeks before many evacuees can go home. That's if they still have a home to return to. Cameron McIntosh.
Colette Kennedy is back with us now for more on weather. Colette, I want to start with air quality because we talked a lot about this on Friday into the weekend as you've been tracking that smoke coming through from the prairies. Is that still a concern as of today in terms of air quality here?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, Katerina. And as of today, we're doing okay. Can it become one again? Potentially in the next few days as we get a change to our pattern. What we tend to be seeing is some of that smoke in our upper atmosphere. So it gets trapped under this dome of high pressure that's bringing us, this warmer air that's coming our way. And so we get the hazy skies, and they're really more pronounced at sunrise and at sunset because you get all that refraction off those particles that are in the air. So yes, we'll watch it, and if the air quality starts to deteriorate, but for now it really hasn't been so much at the surface, and that's why we're doing better than we were at the end of last week. I also want you to take note of some of that cooler air behind the cold front. So yes, it's brought temperatures down in the prairies. That's a bit helpful. A bit of rain, although not really where they need it, more in southern areas or, not essentially in central and northern parts, and some windy conditions. But, we'll take the cool down with the temperatures at least. Our readings are going in the opposite direction, so we have the mid-20s now. We're going to be getting even warmer over the next few days, and our humidity going up a little bit too. With that ridge of high pressure, though, it keeps nice clear skies and dry conditions, clear with the exception of what I just mentioned with the haziness. So that high pressure and that stable air here for tomorrow, most of the day Wednesday, but Wednesday's our day where things will be changing. So the cold front is approaching. This is Wednesday morning, just a few clouds still. Into the evening hours or late afternoon to evening, this timing may change up. So come back tomorrow evening and I'll update you at how it's looking. But it looks like it's more an evening thing with some rain and some embedded thunderstorms in here with the lift provided by that front coming through. And then once it does, as we go into Thursday, could be a few sprinkles early, and then we'll actually be clearing out. It gets a little breezy though. Continues a little breezy tomorrow, and then those winds get even stronger as that front approaches towards midweek. And behind it, the temperatures do make an adjustment. Overnight tonight though, 12 to 13 for our lows, 30 tomorrow, feeling like 34. And then still quite windy into Wednesday. The front moves through, and then watch those temperatures. They really just get kind of snapped back to seasonal for this time of year. It's actually going to be cooler in other parts of Ontario, but we fare okay here into southwestern Ontario.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Thank you so much, Colette.
You're welcome.
Thanks everyone for watching. See you tomorrow.
Good night.